The biggest tennis tournament in the city is coming back, and they've secured the top players in the world. I'm just looking down the list. I think Jakub Sinner won today, defeating, I'm pretty sure Novak Djokovic, right, at Wimbledon. So he's going to be here for the National Bank Open. But there's a lot going on. So before we get into that part, let's start with the good news, which is who's coming, who's confirmed. Valérie Tétreault is Vice President, Communications and Professional Events with Tennis Canada, and she is on the line. Valérie, thanks for the time this afternoon. Let's start with the good news. The men are going to be here this year, and you pretty much got all of them, it would seem.
Exactly. For now, the player list looks pretty excellent, pretty amazing. The only one missing is Carlos Alcaraz. Of course, we would have liked to be able to welcome him to Montreal, but unfortunately, he's still trying to recover from an injury that he's currently suffering. It's his wrist. He's been out for quite some time now. He missed the French Open. He missed Wimbledon as well. But as you mentioned, all the other players right now are planning to come. I would say that there's a question mark around Novak Djokovic. His team has told us that we would need to discuss, obviously, after his run at Wimbledon. So we're looking forward to having those discussions. But Jannik Sinner is going to be, I think, the men to beat this summer in Montreal.
No, Valérie, he's not. Felix Auger-Aliassime is going to be the man to beat.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah.
He is going to be playing, which is the good news. I think he's going to be the highest Canadian ever seeded, is he not?
He will be. So he's ranked number 4 in the world, and you're right. There was never a Canadian that was better ranked when they came to play our tournament in Canada. So that's already a great achievement for Felix Auger-Aliassime. And I think with the way that he's currently playing, we can hope and dream that maybe he can follow the footstep of Vicky Mboko and become the second Canadian to win in Montreal. And I'm sure that's his dream, a dream that he has for a long time, him growing up, obviously, on these courts at the IGA Stadium.
I would ask, by the way, for people who don't know, that it would include me, as soon as the tournament's over, do you already begin working on who's going to be there next year? Like, this thing doesn't happen over the course of a week or two.
No, it doesn't. And to be honest, usually those are conversations that we can only start having a little bit later in the season because, as you can appreciate, the season in tennis is quite long. Obviously, a lot of things can influence their decisions in terms of physically how they're doing, mentally how they're doing. So right now is always kind of like the crunch time, of course. But I would say that the discussions with the players probably start a few months before the tournament.
So I want to go back to the other part of the story, which I teased, which is the fact that you would like to see things change. You want to get a new stadium there, 15,000 seat stadium, and you want to have a retractable roof, which is a word I think that worries every Montrealer, retractable roof. But that aside, look, this event is a prime event on the tennis calendar. I think a lot of people support the idea that, you know what, if we can do an even better job of accommodating more people and sort of updating the facilities, that's a good idea. But I also know that when it comes to Jerry Park, to the stadium now, we saw a picture this week, some people opposed to that idea. I would first ask, were you surprised by that? And second of all, what does this mean? And do you have to take that into account as well?
Oh, for sure. I'm not, I don't want to say that I'm surprised. I think that, we understand, of course, that the citizens, do have some questions about the project, especially when we're talking about a project of this magnitude. So I think it's only normal, and I think it's legitimate and important that they have those questions. And that is exactly why, we wanted to be transparent. And that's why we decided to make this announcement of the conclusion of our feasibility study, even though we're at the very early stages still of that process, so that we would have the opportunity actually to open the dialogue, discuss with, the different users of Jerry Park, the community groups that evolve around Jerry Park, so that they can also contribute to the development of our vision, and therefore we can work on a project that actually meet the needs of as many groups as possible. One of our first priority, of course, is to integrate really well in Jerry Park, and I think that's where there's some good opportunities to think a little bit outside the box and rethink redevelop a little bit the footprint that we currently have at Jerry Park.
Is one of the possible options that, if you are going to go ahead and do this, it doesn't have to necessarily be there? Are there other options on the table?
That was part of the feasibility study that we did. Really, that work was looking at the different options. And yes, one of those options was to look at leaving Jerry Park and build a brand new site. It's an option that we had to eliminate, and it wasn't our preferred option. First of all, it's difficult to find, of course, another site in Montreal and one that is accessible. And then in terms of the cost and the timeline, obviously they went up significantly, and we didn't feel like that option was actually giving us a project that seemed realistic and reasonable.
I would point out, by the way, from what I saw, you have a 30-year lease, right? Or an agreement anyway with ATP. So is there a risk here? Because I know from what I've read, the facilities, I mean, you've had the stadium for a while, last upgraded, I think, more than 20 years ago. Is there a risk of losing this to another city, even if you have a 30-year agreement?
There is, because basically, as much as it shows, I think, the commitment and the desire of the ATP and the WTA to continue to present this event in Montreal, well, we still need, obviously, to meet the expectations for a tournament of our category, and that's where, they come up with some standards, and right now there's already some standards that we're not meeting, and last fall they sent us some letters saying, that we needed to address the situation in terms of our infrastructure because it is not at the level that is expected for a tournament of our level.
So hearing that, I don't think anybody would like to see, even if you don't like the idea of Jerry Park, nobody wants to see this tournament leave Montreal and certainly go to another place, not when it's become such a big event here. Listen, I wish you the best. At the end of the day, I don't think it really matters to say if the public wants to lend their support, can they? I think we all appreciate this is a great tournament. It's been a great thing for Montreal, every year as well. So, as I said, I hope it all works out. Maybe we'll have a chance to chat again.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Valérie Tétreault, Vice President over at Tennis Canada. I think, you know what? I'm not a giant tennis fan. I'll watch Wimbledon. I'll watch part of the French Open, whatever, because it happens to be on. But I know a ton of people who go every year.
I go every single year
to watch this.
It's one of the best sites you could be on.
It is, because you're so close.
Yeah,
right?
man. And there's so much stuff you could do, and it's just great to just be out there at that part of town and just witness world-class tennis. This is not amateur tennis. World-class tennis. Novak Djokovic is going to be here this summer.
I saw Andre Agassi at one of the years. Yeah. No, I've seen some great tennis players in Montreal over the years, men and women, right? Because they switch from year to year. I hope they get this thing done. I will give her points, Valérie Tétreault, for saying she understands that some people are concerned. And yes, you have to take them into consideration. But I do hope this gets worked out. And again, it's not for, how long's the tournament on for? A couple of weeks? And then I know this days. The facility is there. I understand all the time. I think it's a good thing for the city. And I hope they can get this thing worked out. Because again, you don't want to lose this to some other city who'd be willing to spend the money. I didn't ask about financing because I understand they're asking all three levels of government to get involved. Plus, they're going to get involved in financing as well. So it's not as if they got their hand out to taxpayers to say, please help us. So I do hope it works out.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
and more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.